뭐 그랬었어. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, anger. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land.
Oh ja, da 정말로 언니 잠주 자식들이시오. 언니 어떤 분들이 다리 또는 공자가 있어.
First of all, welcome you. Thank you for joining me, and today's cyberspace and Dharma discussion. And we will do the same thing. First of all, let's recite the Aryantara mantra, and then while you are reciting mantra, and we'll also meditating on the vivid image of Aryantara itself. Om Dare Do Dare Dare Soha Om Dare Do Dare Dare So Om Dare Do Dare Dare Soha 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 Dare
야, 다 대랑 같은 거 줬더니 마틴 로주지라. tik당이
Let's continue what we like last time.
다 같은 안에 tik당 안에 그 이제 동는 거면 소텔라 시험양질라 소바이 콤버시 발라 당보 원래 대기월십이다 리롱서 동고 동알라 대 뽑아기고 나도 tel라 가와기고 온 기월십발라 다 샴바고미 파윤도 비싼 게 많이 봐야 맞대 마 진짜 잘해 다 때라네 다 리롱소 예차 당지와 당아 다 그시 리롱소 예차 당위 원이 샴바고바 샴바 공니 곰버샤바 샤냠나데 다 존직리 상치지셈 기 초칼렘비치 조초존이 니즈캅 담치 초칸 니줄 기 콘테 샴 명지 무그넘 다투비치 롱줄 게자 동아 동을 송라 칠때도 동의 체용 소름니 샤츠 오트 챗도 동의 기와는 소름당 이시지 촌이 조버 셰비실 롱 리롱 쪽에 자당데 존지데 렁기 리당 롱초당 디슴 게와 디슴 게와 디슴 게와는 심심긴기 돈실 포함해 버동을 샤 시송데 데이터 강니 리동위 어느 샤트기 무성위 나바진 시니 동을 샤와 머롱라 데이터 돈데 니르완 동을칠 챗도 오트 챗도 샤니시게 소라 어떠버터 로즈나
Please go to your translation copy page 61. And so we're going to continue like we talked the topic we started last time, and so essentially we are going to approach the actual the practice of meditation on loving kindness. Or meditate, yes. And so first of all, and then we're going to start the preliminary practice before we meditate, practice meditation on love and compassion. So the reason we needed engage in the preliminary practice is because we need to see the benefits and the absolute positive outcomes of this meditation, the meditation on love and compassion, because this is what is going to give us a sense of confidence and a sense of purpose, and will lead us to appreciate its practical benefits. And so to do that, and we need to understand the reason behind that. So for this, and here the author says how to so engage to do that. We have to mentally prepare ourselves to start the practice of giving and taking. So now in terms of giving and taking, so what to give, we need to mentally and to prepare ourselves, get ourselves ready to give our body and our possessions and our merits. And to do that, here in the text, it says how to dispense your body, possessions, and virtues in general. Now, follow the general explanation. According to the scriptures of just how we give away body, possessions, and virtues, the purpose of giving them away is that in so doing, we will complete the two collections of merit and wisdom, and that this is the reason we should give them away. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, I will give away without restriction my body, possessions, and virtues I have produced in the 3 times to accomplish the welfare of all beings. From amongst these, it is generally inappropriate to give away the body because it consists of unclean substance such as flesh and blood. For those who are eager, the way to do this is explained below. That's all.
단디 가르스나 당고 좋아지고로가 아니 샴바 곰발의 리롱초 게차당저 당고데 강내 송요래 지소 아니 고 전직 그 전에 전직레는 상지지 셈 조카 점버스비 레오치 요디 카트게텔라 아니 샤오소 아니 조초크 조카 존네데 니지그 조카 말비 박갑데나 아니 담치 조카 담치 초키 니지 콘트 다 샴냥지 김근무 장외 세시 요레스 대샤바 제발 대샤발라 뭐는 제발라 데라 아니 리롱초 소와 게차슴 동 땅고레즈 셰요레스 근데 땅 기위 리롱초 게차 소바 기와 가르 쳇 땅고레즈나 어때 조네 리롱초도 게차 소놈지 초조 베셰드 땅고레 소놈다 이시지 촌이 아주 촌이 좀고레 섬지 전 아주 샘게어 섬지 탐지기도 농업을 상기게서 섬지 농업을 상기어 셰발라 섬지 탐지 농업을 상기어 셰발라 촌이 좀버 이시 소동 촌이 좀오요라 대자 소놈지 초 이시지 소놈지 초 좀버 셰발라 다 지소 바로 즉변당의 집이 바로 지금 봐 오늘 로고사 아니 디스트 다 리롱출로서 게자 땅 거래 시고래 다 리롱출 게자 땅땅데 간다 시에르즈나 저때 전직이 덕게 리땅 롱출 땅게 디슴 게와 저 게와는 샘직근지 돈 듭시르지 포함에 벌동을 샤지르다 덕게 리 롱출 디슴도 서베 리마오다 디슴도 서베 게와 탐제 샘땅에 포함에 봉슴진에 어따때 땅땅나 징아라지 마르셀라지 근데 돈이 섬 마타마지 포함에 바로 샘지 담지기 등원에 전 포함 벌땅 거래 시트송 요르지 대탁비나네 리동 세트 가르자 가랑도 단단 가랑도 샤탁 리 마송한데 디 파타 테르제 테니스 세기요 말이지 다 오네 파티 종 동당도 오나 리적적 동지나다 아나 리칸다지 단다 샤탁 봉부디 파티가마나 리도 간다 동지나 아니 오니 체기나 동고빈 돌리니다 마 마트리 장하샤 또 되시는 거 맞죠?
So here in our discussion and essentially or the practice the way the author prepares to get ourselves ready for this to engage in the actual practice of loving kindness and compassion essentially is by show us the greater reason and the benefits and the way he helps us to understand to see the actual benefits and the reason is that by introduce the sources, the scripture sources, the spiritual authority from where he drawn the idea or the teaching itself. So from where we know to practice meditate on love and that has a tremendous inconceivable benefits if we refer to and according to the author, if we refer to the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, and essentially and says that this has been clearly explained while you are taking. Actually, I'm sorry. The author actually says if you refer to the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, you will see that this benefit has been clearly explained at the time when you acceptance approach or acceptance and you taking you take the Bodhisattva's vow ritual the rites in the two the as the first step forward to engage in the actual preliminary practice, the actual practice itself. So here Shantidewa clearly says that I will give away and without the restrictions in my body and the positions and the virtue I have produced in the 3 times and to accomplish the welfare of all sentient beings. So here it's clearly told us that we do need meditate this practice of give or generosity to give away. What do give away? And what's the object of offering we're going to make, right? Our object of offering we're going to give as a practice of the generosity or the give is our body and also our the possessions, whatever the things belong to us or we are entitled, and then either visible or invisible, and such as including the merits, the virtues, quality that we accumulated. So if you ask why you need to do so, the purpose of to practice the generosity is that in order to accomplish the collections of the 2 collections of the merits and the 2 collections. So the collections, first collection is a collection of merits. The second is a collection of the wisdom. And we know that the first is the 6th Prajna Paramita or the 6th great perfection. The first one is the practice of the perfection of the generosity. So therefore, no wonder the first teaching and here is or the first instruction or teaching we receive is about how what to give to others, and then what the purpose is clearly being said. So while you practice this, and the important thing is that you, without any reservation. So you're not reserve anything or meant to take anything and hold it for yourself, but rather to completely, absolutely give it away for all sentient being, and in order to accomplish your 2 collections. And so how you give it, right? Then the question is how you give our body away. And our body, we cannot give our body as in the conventional sense, or as it is in the, from a conventional point of view. Why? Because this body consists of the substance that is not generally speaking, is not considered pure or great. Why? It's because it consists of flesh and blood and those the impure substance. But how to give it, and then author there he will explain in the below.
Ona lichert tongzina dongo kopin doli ta sanji dogo nana karza dagni browa thamchil ki nyewr chowi yevjin ki lisingerni shiwa tang dorji yansin doli jungwa chembo je ne go na zo tang chen na zo zhang na zo ne semchin thamchi nyewr chowa devjin de shangchi sanhwa dagni ki kyang li semchin thamchi ki nyewr chowi jinger shisongwa tang jonjigli Semchin namtul drapishir, yevjin jin lisagir, shisongwatar, gangla, gangdoki, number 20, jonjigli, muki karwa warmetsi, dana setang kumtakir, semchin pongshang juala, yoshi koga nacho tsu, dana nyor nijirchik, shitang, dana gome namkin gun, lamshik namki tehun tang, gando namki chitang, zandang samba nyitikir. To nil langtur nila langtang, marmi dola marmi tang, nemen dola neme tang, dana lichin tendendo, kinji tenden yor shos. Ringar drap tang, pamzang tang, paksam kina shantang tang, sason junga chenpo tang, nangkwa jinta tang pariyang, simchi pakta me payi namani zo shijir chigis. Dejin namki tartikpi simchi kando dribishi, tamchil nyangan diwar dana nyewar sojir chig, shi tang shangzi sanhui sali jang, shangzi sanhua nam, wembar dede nangta deni, samba takjang, nyang takwa ni, tangwi kinti topayi, dana jimbar shawi, che namla na nazo yachi wata pakta me pa, daga mojing simchin nam la jimbar tongwar shete, des shangzi sanhua, chak chungwi, 초파트 메파 페어리게로스 데니 상츠 생회 셔비 침보 당 담비 짐바오 시 송와트 셈들라 니테 줄 동와 동 놀 동와다 노지니우드라 니 당 당볼라 니 따뜨니 자자야.
So how to practice in your meditation and to give away your body. Here in the array of 3 trunks sutra, it says, you should transform yourself into a wish-fulfilling body and sustains all wandering beings. And the Sutra of the Vajra Victory Banner says, just as through various means and through various manifestations, the 4 great elements sustain all sentient beings, a Bodhisattva transforms his own body so that it is the basis for sustaining all sentient beings. And the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, during the intermediate eon of famine, may I become food and drink. For sentient beings who are poor and famished, may I remain in their presence as various necessities. And may I protect those without protection and be a guide leading those upon the path. May I become a vessel, a bridge, and a ship for those who wish to cross over the ocean. May I be an island for those searching for land and a lamp for those needing a light. May I become a bed for those who need rest and a servant for all who want assistance. May I become accomplishing mantras and excellent verses, fabulous wish-fulfilling trees, and great elements such as earth. May I be the basis of sustenance for limitless sentient beings, existing eternally for them like space. In this way, just as all realms of sentient beings are infinite like the expanses of the sky, may I become the basis for their sustenance until they all attain the state beyond the sorrow. And in the spiritual levels of Bodhisattva, Asanga says, Bodhisattvas who have gone into solitude and have gathered their thoughts inwardly should purify their thoughts of selfishness and from the bottom of their hearts, with a sincere faith, should practice generosity out of their concern for all. Imagine a limitless, huge, and expensive variety of things, as well as providing sentient beings with actual gifts. So, in so doing, a Bodhisattva will expand his accumulation of merits limitlessly and with a little hardship. This is the practice for Bodhisattvas who are endowed with great intelligence. What Asanga is teaching here can be explained in terms of giving to the inhabitants who are living beings, and giving to the environment within beings inhabit. The first of these involve the giving to those not engaged in the spiritual path, and the offering to those who are.
네. 다케당 리 롱추 당즈소 리당 롱추 당즈 나랑조 치다 요아단 리당 롱추 뉴드레 뜻당 승아세 섬지 dakkar점 리 롱추 당즈 리 당즈 송아로 다들 샤타고 공부도 송했잖아 잔나 고게 마도 펜도 꽤 말와 달리 롱추 당 간을 당고 야 사당 똑발람 또 곰이 또 똑발 통부 쪽도 오전당 전대 기를 빼나 쪼로 돈바나 쪼가 같을 때 리트베 소소 리드 파当tel pe pat me pe ne no se do bala se ke do bala te tui go ne ne pa jingi or jinni pe te mu pa chi ne ta de shan se me mu pa chi de te chi de ta ngara zo che tang so kyo ngara zo ngi ni sa li tang ne ba gar tang ga jina ta nor do bala no ke do bala ke de chi jong do sa ba ni tang no se te ngara zo ta da ngara zo li de pe chu tang ne te chi thak yo or ne thak yo or gang jina Pena Toron Panjuri Hochi, lead the picture on the little and Amsulatemi, Zambulona, Panjuk, Niwado, Sosuchibu Chayona, Telatene, Minyam Takala, Sedo Bala, Sajin Tokiores, Kindo Bala, Kijin Toko, Chetong Sambaton, Chetong Zonla Sopatig, Chodichaman Holland Japanoji, Mijabi, Gentle Contokio. They contabate Cheton, little at them be Niwala, Longshot John, Longshot Niwala Tene, and Jana Pensum Jog. 다 샤와트 드럽고요. 어때서 때 나랑도 다당 나랑도 주 파와데 리 소소 리니스 때리게 트위고니 파 기로하게 니와다 요 말다 소소 리드 배주 땅에 때리게 전두시비 니와지 요다. 대자당 나랑도 저 총서 치사 가르네 때 소소랑 리들라 세나치네 자니 전화 리드 니까치까치 존이 니마치 존로요. 때네 리드 고주 땅에 런진 탐질라 펜터치 토와이나 어디 디오 사wen도 소소를 Mendaga, that Tindala Jala Pasumina, Tichok, Sosola Tomata, the Kita Netrangore, Tetan Kawashman of Soso Teletimi, Jimmy George Yungor, Tensatani, Conterci, Challenge, Toronto, Chalo, years on the Chalote, Yarni Chalote, Dawachika, La Yazona, La Chatazona, Tiran, take your picture on the Kepson in Twina, or Kepson Rami Kambo, Ginata, or that Dawachika in La Chatazana, in the picture Tanchini. Jimata dangi dawachi yang tadi latwa ke tapsi tang pechu tang lengua sama ina samban ina le kote batsuchi ne tolaga matanga jine pe toko yoko jamne tigang pechu yoko tang degro tati sa shemborzi nyai dena ko tiso lo kachika tisoni dawachi sangsona pachukti kilo ke sona ta suzo yarla tini kepsang lo lema tuni de gyong sasona te chadang adu linde matse chika linde yarwa tendeshi yarwan doji jawa hami sosoki dewala tini chongwari 단단 아주 리드 배추 땅에 겨워시마 밀리토와 바초다는 지마토와이나 코까지가 진지베 넘바키니 이미나 도타 저르쯤 이제 이마치는 시도시 소나 드네 넘버 쇼트 데이터 카트 용수 때는 강즈가 참조고나 다 지니 소소랑카 지니 짜고 있어 다다 배추 땅에 손은 지사토와이나 호텔에 시마야 함이 공통지 겨워 렌트와 딜리 야즈레 마토나 딜리 로드 렌트와 딜리 탑lum지 요레스 베차당 아주 단당 아랑조 값을 바비에니 지 성스sembe 사톤볼라 주베디 리농주드 방오 여르니 지시었다 요 말다 이나 아랑조 박속 리드 배초 동네 아니 요라당 디본이 젠다 판독지도 니와지 요레스 때서 니와 요아도 칫솔 마당 니와 배조당 탐나 역고 요레스 땅이 뜻이고지.
So when we come to the general practice of giving or generosity, or give away the things to others, to as the spiritual the means to achieve our spiritual realization. We know we only have a generous giving, and as far as the sort of the things that are obvious to us is that first of all we have our body, which is obvious, right? It's kind of substantial and obvious for us, and we can use it and take it as use as object of offering or giving. And then next thing we can control or use as an object of giving is our possessions. So that's including the material wealth and anything that you are entitled for. Let's say first, though, and how to give your body. This body of ours, in generally, you cannot just take it and say, "Here you go." And you cannot do that. And then fulfill everybody's needs and satisfy everyone or every individual's desire. Why? Because obviously, we don't have that kind of quality or the spiritual power, and the levels of our spiritual understanding on the bhumi, the ground of our spiritual realization that we have obtained or attained or achieved is still is not there. So in other words, we don't have the power to be able to transform our body into the way, like Shantideva explained in his textbook, in his text about he wished that to, and during the time of the break out the ferment, he wished that he can transform his body into the food and drinks and the substantial things like a bread and the boat and so on and so forth. So those are the ideal way into perfecting our practice of generosity, or the great perfection of the generosity. But we haven't achieved that level of the spiritual realization yet. However, it happens, and then the bodhisattvas whose attainment is achieved the certain degree or the level, and then they can able to do or perform such the practice of giving or generosity in the form of a miraculous way. For instance, like those practitioners are highly achieved advanced yogis when they practice Jo, or cutting through, the practice of the Jo and the cutting through or cutting, and then while they are performing the ritual, the rites, and then they can transform their body and into various items, various substantial things, and then that can and then they give it away and to meet the needs of those individuals who are looking for or who desire. And so yes, so if we have that power, and we are and achieved such levels of the spiritual and highly advanced spiritual realization, then in the area or in the world, in the area where region, wherever particular problems occur, and you might be able to transform your body and the best upon your spiritual the powers of attainment, right? And can transform your body and then responded to the disaster and then the difficult situations accordingly, because by then and since you are someone who is advanced, achieved the very highly or advanced spiritual realization, so therefore you are able to transforming, and you can perform miraculous deeds. So that is the ideal situation. Here, give us the example, and like Kent Diva said. So what do we learn from this is that that's our goal, right? And we want to achieve, and also wish we can do that to ourselves in the future. But the thing is, at the practical level here is that we have this body, right? And it belongs to us, and so our attitude to our body and that has to be evaluated or directed. Why? Because generally speaking, we have a strong sense of attachment to our body, and that gives us some kind of reason to be miserly or stingy about our body. When we when somebody needed our help, or we needed put our body in the use for our spiritual advance practice, we usually have this sense of sort of like kind of a withdrawn, a restraint, and as if we really kind of have this tight fist. We don't want to spend, and we don't want to use it in that way. In fact, when you think the way you treat your body in such a way, it's really unjustifiable, is not wise. Why? Because this body is constantly or instantly, and moment by moment is changing, so keeping fade away. So whether you use it or not, it's just the way it is. It's going to diminish its strength and its functionality and its power, and eventually it will be completely vanished. So understand this, and then we can use this body as a means, as a useful tool, and some kind of technique, and to benefit others. This way, we will make a good friends, and we will harmonize our life and benefit ourselves and our families and communities. So, and then you can imagine this way. Suppose that you go to the library or somewhere, you check out a book, right? And so the book is only valid for 1 month. And as a wise reader, you know that there's deadline involved, there's due date. So therefore, as soon as you check out the book, and because due date is under the limitation of the date's rent is only 1 month. So therefore, a wise reader or whoever the rent a car, whatever, who would put every a possible moment and to finish the book, read the book, or use that tool on equipment he or she and is rented, because the wise man or woman know, and once the due date is approaching, and then you have to return it, right? So therefore, our body, just like a book or a car or any valuable equipment, is being borrowed. So borrowed for a month or for within the kind of the period of a lifespan. So during that period of a lifespan, and we must take a great advantage of the use of this time, the body, and never let this body just fade away without properly use it and for the great outcome. So therefore, we must try to make our body, economically speaking, very lucrative, and to produce the most possible amount of wealth from this body. So therefore, our body is. And another way to look at our body is that this body being we obtained we are possessing now is the result of our previous life a good deed, right? The accumulation of good karma and the merits we collected, and so which means it's here for us to achieve more and do better and to achieve something greater than we have done in the previous life. So, and then we always have to remember that this is a continuation of the good deeds and the karma and that we accumulated. We must continue doing the same, dedicate ourselves to do the same virtuous action, and so this way we can sustain something, make something that's sustainable. And otherwise, we know that once we die, and then this, or in other words, once the separation of body and the consciousness is occur, then you left the body behind, and then the consciousness will keep going, and so without a properly practice and accumulate the good karma and in the merits, and then so your consciousness will get to nowhere, and at least at the moment of the death, and you have no idea, or you might wonder what's going on. So similarly here, and so for that reason, we are learning the technique is taught by the author here. So those technique is to accumulate the merits and get ourselves prepared, and the preliminary practice of the bodhisattvas, the bodhisattva and bodhicitta, and then promote ourselves to the higher advanced levels of the spiritual realization, and so this way, then eventually we can perform the generosity and miraculously. But right now we don't have that resource, we don't have that capacity. However, we still can do a lot by practically and wisely and follow the Dharma and the teachings, and do whatever we can to accumulate, use our body to accumulate, to dedicate our body to the accumulations of merits, and then itself is a very important and meaningful practice.
소소런 글리도 지다 리롱초 당도 노르부터게 찌데 찌득고나 난 지금 감도나 뭐뭐도 통하고다다 나르도 얌타도 가르시 세 마토레 네 좋았 용어나 따뜻 원통 장난나 아니 하이 겨우 철밥정 사월만 사월만 오면 떨어지네 가와메 비상만용제 상진 지든 쇼니 치시용을 줬는데 가와메 소소때 소놈지 소때 년주 가와메 총나 니와 용고 말이지. 배나 남카다 그래서 차와 빠바에 사지강라 빠바에 나라 사원띠기 땅 니와트 기조고 니와메 사원치게 나오나 그는 이거 뭐야 사원 매르지. 니와 비요 말 대자 때나지 차도 대자 당가서 소놈기 소소랑이 ngene 창소고 그래. 다 산지랑 그런 인고엔 그런 거는 다 있어요. 산지가 니 연든다 틀리기 니와 탐증하고 같이 니베 소소바 네네 요르다 요나 강아주 때 농수비 가와든 나눠준 얘기 듣고요 말. 배나 혹다 첨보즈가 회전 혹다 치보디나나 전 그런 거지 차기 용수 줘봐 요아 띠경가 아니지 시 연된다다비 개인 차장 삼수 줘봐 요아의 나라 띠능네 혹다 띠능 혹다 배나 야튼 하고는 띠능 가시게 또 농촌에 원이 장내지 분수 줘봐지네 그런 거 연대 렌트와나 단주도 시트 소 가시 때문에 고급도 촐라가 동네 다가랑 디조 촐라 동네 파마고 우 촐라 소소고 디조 촐라 게임지 나선도 연대 강 말레지 다도 되는 뭐요 어때 소소라니 그 맞지를 맞도 파송도 맞지 말어
It's 11 o'clock.
대자대 삼당지 대자 딱 뭐마티 로리지 동지거라니 여우친구 남시시세 때 제가 노르지도 오지로 노르지도 오지 자다 그런데 득지 키워 득 저나 안 됐는데 노르고 잘 봐버리더니 다 동요 진짜 다 미치긴 여우친구 남시시라 감시장이 그런 배 아니 연화 차단을 보는데 사통보라 비상지 선바로 아니 힘sem지 연화 차단 지금 여우친구 남시시 연화 차단 지게 맞종지네 아니 진 연화 차단 지금 미 카시베들한 가이나 노르 그런 징그들 가실란 노르 징그만 오이 맞네 내게 가르치네 때 잡을 가르쳐 근데 결혼 때문에 말해 니초 때는 베지 동거지 아니 그런 결혼 결혼소 세도도 결혼 삼바카디가 손자다한테 기대되다 뜻이라 용거 다다지 어때 고소는 소소 사가서라고 초마선이라고 말했어 근데 그런 게 세도도 어떻게 손에 삼바드 카손 자다네 종이 되지 데르다 아니 때문에 미교지야 용거서도 삼바디 칼레 용서네 그러지 아따 나 지금 온디 삼바디 칸이들이 야만 로데 무치도르데 나당에 무츠네 로데 무츠네 로서도 그래 무츠네 선다 그러고 근데 다 디지고디 손음 손음 상상원즈 레버자 손음 상기도 레버 다시는 용수 다시는 그 기원어 다 삼바디 칸스나 잡자마지 냥가 어르데 다네 밤내는 거 달라 밤내 손에 세도도 걸었어 어때 저다 요 샤운다 요치고 요치 남티라 네곤다시 네곤다 땅건다네 미스 소는 그 소소는 그 깔트면은 다 답시시 하면 되니다 데코 묘한 예신들 그 랜드들이 라가르서 보다 대청 안으로 집당 안에 지금 밤행운이 샹통이나 사마 잔임이오나 소소런 명이 맞지나 용도요 말 근데 선지상도 선바 탐정 안으로 특지고는 잔임 뛰어나라 소속일이 맞는 용어 말 변하다 단다 야와를 붙인 데레지 배우는 좀 지금 디동나 편 샴냥 지금 스티비 더니 전 데레지 배치 잼피기근이랑 치직 송고 그 담롱라 송고다 근데 가시기다 배우는 전에 년지 롱조디 소소라 텔레테네 부수고 되어 토고 가시라 전에 때 롱조야 파조 때 르나다다 배 삼나나 토스음기 데르지니 롱조야 파조 디 니와 소소로 지아라 토고요 어다 배춘지나 되지그래서 대자다 소소소네 지금 소소소소 랑비티네 소는지 소사 소는지 이시지 소사 지용소 데르비르비 지금 소소라 니와로지 튼도아지요 대자다 다 리동수 당구이 임천때 제당 섬제 판동조 소도 소소랑 이게 소사 비치들이 뜻이고
Well, upon here, what we have learned from Shantideva or my comments or interpretations of the text, and you may have questions already in your head, and the questions something like this. Could be something like this. If that's true, the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas and they have the power and potent, and they can perform the miraculous deeds, can transform their body and the objects and into various things, various objects, equipment, and supplies, and to give it to the sentient beings in the world, across the world or universe, and fulfill their desire. Then why there's still people suffer because lack of the sufficient the material thing. And so to answer this question, we must to know a very important notion of lot, L-O-T, or the what you call it, the fortune, and or a portion. And the personal portion of or personal lot and the merit, the cause that individually how much you accumulated. That's depend upon the individual whose readiness and whose sort of previous deeds, whether whose condition, whether he or she or they is ready to receive or not. That's depend on them. It's not the question of whether Buddha, Bodhisattvas can or cannot or did not perform the miraculous deeds and such as transform their body or the materials and into different forms, and then give it to those who desire, those who are looking for, if I need it. And so Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are and always there, and they're performing and all kinds of miraculous deeds, and they're helping all sentient beings. And one of the example or the narrative we know that from the sutra is that the king of the divine being, divine, and who it says that in the sky, right, is sort of a vastly open and available for everyone, and especially for the rain falls. So rain falls from the sky, the same space in the fell, but the way and the plants, right, and who receive the rainfall, the water, is very much conditioned or depend upon the each plants where it is located, right? Or as being like a seeds being planted onto the ground. So this what this is trying to say is that rainfall is has no any sense of discrimination. Right? It's absolutely openly and equally drop the rains and up on, from the up sky and down to the ground. But here on the ground, each plant and or the seeds in each particular part of the field or place where how much water and the raindrops it can receive, it become various. It's not equal anymore. It's depend upon how well and where they are and the positions and the heights and the particular angles and so on and so forth. And especially when you think about the seeds who has been damaged, right? And so all the seeds is suppose in the same ground, in the same field. But if there are particular seeds who has been damaged or got the damage itself physically, then it doesn't matter how much raindrops fell into or up onto that very seed on the top of it. It just cannot receive any benefits. That's because that the seed itself has been damaged, right? You cannot blame on the rainfall or the raindrops. So therefore, the Buddha Shakyamuni repeatedly said, and we also quoted this repeatedly in the previous occasion, that Buddha says, you are your own master and you are your own enemy. And so now we know, and you are your own master is because if you plant acting like plant healthy seeds, right? Or you present yourself like a seeds with a good quality or in a good condition, then wherever you are and so the proper place and with the proper condition and wherever you are, then you will receive the rainfall in this particular context, the Buddha's blessing and Buddha's teaching and his miraculous performance deeds. you can benefit from it. However, if you do not, then just like Buddha said, you could be your own enemy. You could do things which against your own very wish. And let me take you to the context of the college campus. So we know the college campus is open to everyone who is eligible, who is had the enrollment, right? Who is enrolled in the class, and from that point onwards, the college as a facility, right? And everything is equally open to all the students. Such as the library and the resources, all kinds of resources, right? And also the teacher who is dedicated to all the students. Where suppose you have like more than like 1,000 students or maybe 100 students in the college and the campus in a particular class or the college. So even though the college's policy and the rules in terms of appreciate the resources and the facilities and all kinds of services is equal, and also all the teachers are required to dedicate themselves and they're doing this, provide same service and dedicated equally. But always there are students. There's one or two, some kind of cases that the students who do not take the advantages of this wonderful opportunity, meaning a shared equal opportunity, and they use the library, they use the college and the facility and services and the teachers teaching works that teacher done. And they just somehow so here, there, and they don't do the work on time and properly, and then of course they're not. It's only a waste of the time and the short period of time they are entitled to live on the campus, and they also they failed to take advantage of the teachers' work and the teachers' instruction. They even wasted the monies and given to them by their parents, or they took through the student loan. So all this shows that you can't, for those few or particular individual, you cannot blame on your parents, you cannot blame on your professor, you cannot blame on the college campus and their services or their facilities. And the only thing you need to blame is yourself, right? Because everything is equally shared. And there are many students who really fully be able to dedicate themselves to the program, and then they took the advantages and they got so much benefits out of the college and college while they were there. And this also not lead me to another kind of interesting scenario. In fact, this kind of story, according to Buddhist tradition, we have and so all of that I can remember the Sanskrit name, and in Tibetan we call it the Namtesi. It's the god of the treasure. God of the treasure in Buddhist tradition. His Tibetan name is Namtesi. The Sanskrit name I can't remember. Sorry about that. And the Namtesi, the god of the wealth, and he is the Bodhisattva. By the way, he is the emanation of the Bodhisattva. As a Bodhisattva, he has no any discrimination to do any particular individual's favor. Also, and not doing anything against anyone. And his performance in terms of serve others or help others is absolutely equal. Right? And so, because he is the god of the wealth, and the way he distributes, or he can help to provide the material wealth, is equally be distributed. However, there are, and the story says that at one point, and one individual who got complained about this god of wealth, and brought him to some kind of divine and other divine figure, and to do some sort of a lawsuit, and that's against to say criticize him being unfair or has this sort of a biased, doing the things with a very biased manner, because he says, you gave it to and a lot of people wealth and made them rich, but you don't give it to others or me, and so he complained that. But then this God of wealth say, no, it's not me. It is whoever doesn't receive the wealth, that's their own karma or their own lot. Right? That's their own sort of portion of the fortune. How the portion of the fortune of the marriage is because upon to them. It's not entirely depend on me. And he said, he told this person who accused him, say, if you are not believe me, then let's let's check it out. He says, I put a piece of gold and somewhere on the bridge in the common place, right? There's lots of traffic, people going out use the bridge all the time. I put the gold in there. See who can, right? Who can or cannot get this. So then he asked this accuser to witness it and the proofs that the lot, the importance of the lot or importance of the fortune, and or previous, let's say, the deeds. And so then they look it over, and after place the gold on the bridge, and then they check in. There was coming a beggar, a homeless man, who passed by the bridge all the time. But just in that very particular day, when he about to pass the bridge, and he told himself, he said, I passed this bridge and over 100 times. So today I'm going to test to see whether I can go through the bridge with my eyes completely closed. Right. Then he closed his eyes and tasted his ability, and he walked through the bridge. Of course, he didn't see the gold, and it was placed in an unreasonable place. And then after him, there comes a man who rides a horse. And so he's a very careful man, and upon to reach at the end of the bridge, before and get on the bridge, and he told himself, says, who knows, this could be a cause of trouble. Let me get off the horse and walking through the bridge, not ride on the horse. So then he get off the horse and leave the horse and walking, and then he saw the gold and he picked it up, and that became his. And so at that point, and the God of wealth and then and told the he says, it's supposed to be and that beggar because he's the first person and coming, but just that much for instance, and because lack of lot and lack of merit, and he decided walking and cross the river with his eyes closed to test his ability of his knowledge about the bridge, and therefore he missed the gold. And similarly, that man and supposed riding on the horse and walking and across the bridge, but he decided to get off and the bridge and for his own safety. Then he saw the gold, and then that's becoming his. So this kind of a story, and it tells that it's not about the distributor of the wealth, such as the God of the wealth in this particular context, and it sees his own ability, but rather is the receiver, the individuals in his or her own fortune and karma or the Lord. And so we have this this kind of the fortunes, like parents, who equal and who are the in terms of the relations between the parents and the kids. So parents are there and to raise the kids, but there are cases that the kids itself are coming to the parents and with her or his or her own sort of the lot, and then the things are turning into a different. Not that every kids in of the same parents are the same or receive the same benefits. And another example I like to say is about His Holiness the Dalai Lama. This is a more kind of a spiritual and in the context of spirituality, a spiritual practice, or the benefits of a spiritual tradition benefits. His Holiness Dalai Lama is being and present and so available, and he gave the teaching and to everyone equally, and as his Bodhisattva's deeds, and unconditionally he gave to everyone. But you know, when you look in and the receiver, our fellow human beings here on earth, and in terms of the attitude toward him, his teaching, and there are people who very happily and cheerfully and diligently approach his teaching and receive the teaching and appreciate and enjoy his teaching and the benefits a lot. But there are individuals and who doesn't care and who doesn't see how important it is. Even in some cases, there are individuals who upon here, there is His Holiness Dalai Lama going to teach or going to give the public the Dharma talk, and then instead of rejoice, feel happy about it, they even feel annoyed. They're not happy about it. And His Holiness Dalai Lama is giving spiritual teaching for free, and you can tell, you know, and just toward His Holiness Dalai Lama's the same Dharma teaching. There are various individuals, and because of the individuals' fortune and the individuals' the karmic portion and or the merits and the lot, it make huge differences. So therefore, anyway, the conclusion and to sum up, and what we try to say is that our goal is for. Based on all these teachings, all these examples, right, and we know that we do need accumulate the merits in order to appreciate something and that we wanted or we needed, right? Because since it doesn't come without nowhere or without any proper cause, it's not random. So anything you received, you achieved, or you're going to achieve is directly related to the law of causality. So therefore, it is important for us to dedicate to the accumulation of the merits and the accumulations of the wisdom.
야, 다 좋아요. 한번 가시죠.
So now we have a few minutes, and if you have any questions, and please ask.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the taking, how do you view that in your mind? I can think of several different ways you can do it. You can just view it as actual pain. You can view it in a state of equanimity. You can view it as empty of inherent existence. So what do you say?
I see. 공기 좋아들이 아주 동바당 램바니기나니 램비카다스 그래. 동랭 램비카텔라 삼평기 미두면 레가 란당디 예삼당나 티코 란당데 카시드 메로 상기시. 에버젠 투 이야 로톤 랭거레 란켄디 로와 로톤 랭베나 로톤에 삼평기 두면 무시디 원니디 랭겨바 직제. 아니 지금에 아니고 라야디 스폰데다 메웨그 본스나다다 랭기오바 데기치게 미넨거네레 지금에 고 랑징기 마드베기 두메치 랭기오바 치게 어때 다들 담당 담당하는 lantan ngoni ti kang yin won des.
다 직당 지나다 고 롱진기 마드바다 따와가 어디 상나다 롱진기 마드바다 시탐지 롱지 마드바로 보다 이나 따다다다도 동는지 가득 때라 소소선 파쇼라지 능은지 통나 능을때 소소고 살아 렘비 너시로 존에 미와로 진이 지금 직당 야 사통불의 형제 선바들이 차소나 코파쇼티기 니와트 살아 량가 니와요스 뭐마들 무슨 바자치 볼라마도 나파 탁신데라 손에 코 단지신이 폐용으로 남성 나파티기 네트 바 잠로니 네 지금 그좀 그즈글라테 되게 지금 등은로 용용근 근데 그 소라트기 요스도 근데 딱 아주 단지 첼 마올레비도라 근데 딱 미와치니 드리지니 지고도 마도전 정말 등은 소소니 돈지 토요 말다 얘나 미와치는 미와치보로 소소고 삼로 당네 섬지 탐치게 되나 라마라 단 소소 이치 다 상제 라마 상지 잡았으면 초상한테 되는 넌다 곰진이 디 달라테네 소소 디 때네 지 구성특기 연든 담제 마 소소라 시기와 삼데 아니 소소가 섬제 담지게 능은 담지 소소게라 야래 소소게라 야란데 시주지 능은데 아니 상지 상지 삼비 니와 때라테네 아니 담지 쇼르지니 지도다 능은다 느접다 참마 랑진지 뭐지 말와 그 랑진이 그 첩덤데 나와 지기메 되지 말고 파쇼텔라지 지와질라 실리질라 종아서 실리텔라 종 니와다 담지 땅에 아니 파코네 야 노동무스 무슨 소비 올 파트니 한지 파진니 리농플로스 버진바 어떤데 땅에 미와치 용고 근데지나 domdior 소소랑이 단내오면서 소소랑이 그 등에서 렌지 런지 마르비 등한테 선지선 세바탐지 니위 틀라테네 파 오젠도 기르치니 지동 옴아홈스고 맞도 세고라 옴 지수 지동 아주 링을 있음 그 총고라 옴아홈스도 옴세트가 링을 있음 손두지 링을 있음라테네 아주 디파던 기와 몽부 싹 작게요라 이나 때 접주데 아세테 런지 동아서 코랑지 때 링을 있음라테네 게디 기와 서바드 디파서바드 탐제 런지 비 강지 랑승바지 요 말레스 땐사도 탐제 때닌 종아에서 홈 지수 홈 텐종도 되시고 때 홈라테네 텐종도 뜬텔라테네 탐제 기용 올라 파기르송 뜬삼네나 오마함스들 돈바이도 오마함치던 선지 탐지긴 그 먹고 니와치는 주신을 좀 모르고다 자위크 송도도 소술링이 있으면 탐지 때도 어때게 지 저당 남나 조요라 저당다 샤린 라마다 때요다 조조다 수sem기 땅니 돈은 지교도 마통하도 다다다 차톰벌레도나 공이스 그때라 종어요 마토 다다 테마토나 테다 sem기 땅니 미와 좀 지야지로 미와 지기 아니 야야 공네 패네 지기스 lalnga 돈 터지 용고라 What the lizard song with the Tomatongala Mexican Dutch in Arang Yongi going in the Sajo shows in the Shia time. Arang Namjita did go use
Okay, George, so here what I think, essentially, and if you be able to apply whatever the understanding or the levels of understanding or the depth of your understanding and with respect to the philosophical view of the things are phenomena and the events are not inherently existent, okay? Or devoid of inherent existence. If you can apply, right, and take that view as apply it as the underlying or the foundation of your meditation, and in this particular case is taking. Of course, that's the best, right? Because after all, we know that everything is a lack of or devoid of inherent existence. It does not exist inherently at all. So that's the form of that's the proper way to practice the taking. And however, so now in terms of to actually physically taking, the pain, and that probably requires a great deal of advanced spiritual realization. Right? Because when you really actually physically sort of take upon and somebody else, the other person's pain, and then upon to you, let's say to transform that pain and to yours, to your onto your own body. That's you cannot down as you cannot do it and as an ordinary practitioner. And once you read, according to a lot of accounts, and we know that it is possible though, because back to Tibet, there are stories, many stories that there are highly advanced Lama and who be invited to visit a very sick person. And so the Lama, and upon receiving the person's the bed and visiting him, and because of his spiritual power, and then the Lama can take that person's physical pain up onto him, and then the stories, the records showed that that Lama, he actually expressed some kind of pain, and or the others witnessed that he or she was indeed the pain while on the process of taking that pain from the ill person, a sick person. So this kind of thing again is for the beginners. It's just for us it's a reference, and it is possible, but practically, and of course we can't do that. So what we can do is we can train our mind by relying on the power of the faith and through the visualization, and through the by depend upon the faith and then through the by the means of visualization, and then we can develop our ability. We can enhance our power and to do it. So this is it can be done is like I said, and we have the faith, right? And then take the faith as the ground, and from that ground, the very ground, and then we sort of increasing our spiritual power. The miraculous power. We can do increasing it. And the typical way to do that is that we know in the context of Vajrayana, we have the Lama or the root guru, right? We have strong and pure faith in him or her, and we visualize his divine and the form in our meditation, and then invoke and the blessings of the body, speech, mind, and all the other spiritual attributes, qualities, and powers, and upon to us. And then through this way, and we can transform our own body, speech, and mind to be blessed and to be transformed. And again, this is the process, right? Through this kind of visualization, the process of the visualization, and with a strong faith, a genuine faith, and then we can gain and progressing in increasing our spiritual power, and then eventually we will achieve that higher and advanced level, and we can ourselves doing this, performing the same deeds. So anyway, the very philosophical or logical reasoning is that we can do it, we can achieve it, is because there's nothing not achievable. The reason again is because everything is a lack of or devoid of inherent existence. Right? The events, and all the phenomena are devoid of the inherent existence. So therefore, and it is possible for you transform with your spiritual advanced spiritual power, you can transform the things and the substance and into a wealth, into any usable and the equipments or the possessions, and which then you can do it. So yes, the power is there, but the thing is, or you can say the Bodhisattva's blessings and the spiritual realization, the power of a spiritual realization is available, and we do have to increase it, and we have to recognize it and increase it and make it our own individual power. And one of the way to, other than the invoking the meditate, visualize the Buddha Bodhisattvas, right, and then invoke their body, speech, mind qualities. We can do another practice is like Om Ahom. So Om Ahom, and when you recite the mantra Om, and that is it means that you transformed into the state of realization. Okay, another state of realization is the emptiness of the emptiness of ultimate reality, or the ultimate truth. And so Om, and then I is the state of Allah. Oh, sorry. Om is the body, speech, mind of the individual. So yeah, Om is the body. Om is body, speech, mind, the individual who is practicing the meditation. So when you say Om, that's your body, speech, mind is the object of a transformation. And then when you said so you merge, you try to merge in the state of the inherent existence, or shunyata. The ultimate reality, the emptiness, or the shunyata. And then that's the highest spiritual realization. And then when you say Om Ahom, and then Om is the understanding of the dependent arising, or the pratyeka samudpada, and so this is also the as a practitioner, when you say the Om Ahom in your general practice or daily practice, it's the technique for you to apply and try to increasing, even eventually to transform your body, speech, mind into the state of pure spiritual realization, and from that state of spiritual realization, and then depend on the power of the dependent arising, or pratyeka samudpada, and to perform the miraculous deeds to benefit all sentient beings. So anyway, things, events, objectively, and it can be transformed. And so how to do it, and it's various. Right now, the thing which we talked about here is like a rite. It's a ritual, and it's a ritualistic practice, and meaning that we need to do it through the visualization and something as symbolic. And but our goal is to eventually transform this very symbolic or ritual as and make it as a real power. So yes, so your faith, right, and the visualization and the increases, and then the power of your ability in terms of taking the transforming the others individual, the discomfort or anything can be also increased, and that's not much I can say, but unfortunately that's what I have learned personally, and from my own individual person's experience. I really don't have any good idea or good advice for you, because I haven't reached that point yet.
단단데 엄세서 엄세한테 지금 소수 링을 있으면 쪽으로 예의 그 정도 쪽 그래서 링을 있으면 통화에다가 엄세서 남서 세면다도 아무도 대득이 종아나 개득 그 리사가나 서마 링을 있으면 된 정보라 대자 때는 또 델레 때는 또 대득이 땅 개득이 참장안에 랑진집에 동아에 랑진집에 요래 랑진집에 동아 요마티 딜 지당자 때는 때는 종 적용 거 대자다 때는 종아한테 때 마타페 디피 뭐 땅에 답이 뭐 여러 요한자 때 시아전에 때 홈세 also 때 랑진 긴고데 다때 마타페 당와 등이 탑제 따버신 라피 차라야 지송 삼지 공바이나 그때가도 의텐도 의야 텐네 쳇땅들도 엄마함도 그때가도 로그다 버렸어 엄도 야땅 아데 파네드네 홈즈 쳇땅들이 용거도 저니 의땅 틀었다가 삼땅 틀나 곰때 그땅 곰 야고 빼 무슨 곰 니와 침보스나 돈은 제가 가지래서 네 옴즈 또 링을 쓰면 소소름 링을 쓰면 제기 링을 쓰면 예 구성특이나 처음에 예 구성특이 섬지면 기바데 소소 링을 쓰면 그 실리 빅자트 딱 송한다 되니 구성특 뭐 있어라 어때 삼도는 요거 요죠 너무 되오지 송소라 될 거라
So let me just briefly say something in addition to what we have talked about Om. Om is not only the represented the Buddha and Bodhisattva's mind, body, speech, but also is represented that your own body, mind, and speech as a practitioner. And so yes, so I is the ultimate reality. That is Shunyata, the state of or the reality where you realize all the phenomena are devoid of inherent existence. And then Om is the combination or the unification of both the appearance and the ultimate reality. So understand this, and it's important. It's going to be very beneficial because when you say Om and think about if you focus and other than focus on Buddha, Bodhisattva's body, speech, mind, when you focus your on, you think, oh, my body, speech, and mind is at this point is impure, is contaminated, right? And then recognize that impure aspect of your body, speech, and mind. And then when you say recite the and know this, even though and for the time of being, and now when your body, speech, mind, that particular aspect is impure, but ultimately it is pure. Why? Because like we said, is represented devoid of or empty of the inherent existence. Even there appears to you and your body, speech, mind at this particular point is impure, but ultimately it is pure by itself, by its own very nature. So, and then you think about the home, and so it's the union, and so it's a dependent arising, and in fact that so in general, it is it's the Om Ahom is we think about your own body, speech, right, and the unpure aspect of your speech of the mind, and is a self, right? It belongs to you. It's your own sort of component of your identity as a samsaric being. But the pure aspect of your very body, speech, mind, which actually is the Buddha, is the quality, it's the enlightened quality. So therefore, when you breathe in like Om, right? So for you, in the context of you get you invoke the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and qualities, and realizations, kindness, compassion, and attributes. So Om sort of take the breath within, with the breath in, so you invoke it, and you take it into, upon you invoke the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, right? And then take their qualities in, and then when you say there's a moment of dwelling, right? Or abiding. So you take the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, enlightened qualities in, and then at and when you recite on in this moment of abiding, there's a transformation, there's a transforming, and then when you say the home is lets the break out, and so this is like and they being distributed or given to all others. So this is, I think, is a simple. Even though Omahon kind of is something that's very much like a part of the ritual practice. But when you look at the actual meaning, and then when you take it to your daily practice, and you will see that's really something that has a profound meaning and is a very, very useful practice. So that's all for today.
Lo me ma ru ge don ro nan de ya we won bo na de ma son de te ro gun de Jang be yang ye te we je zong be re ba gan zong lam je ye ne je be ya na ye shi Rang ge je zhen do be lang ge Xie zhe ze wei zhang wei tang ping Zhuo wei ye ji men ba sa xi wei dang ba ye rang zhen ge dang ba ren chen chou wei ma jiu Xia jiang yang ber jie wei shou de Nyang jie chen bo ya ro zhou ba Pan de sa wer xie ber shuo Jie ya wei ma shong chen de La zhi shang shu lang ji zhen bei Tan du nan ji ye la hu zhi shang Ya wei za ba rang de zhong zhi Lang zang zhe bei den jian zhe xi Ga jian se xie me dang me men Zhe ru gan de jia wei ngao ba Nan dang zhe wer ma ji Gang zi ta ba shou la ji zhu Zi zhen zhe la zong ba de yi zi Te de nan ji dan de zhou xi Ga 西江左小根张之这位喇嘛仁波切的会年格尔巴米当时那个真前不过你集中的个中的你这啥的说仁波切马吉瓦呢节节去节瓦年巴没不是样光的光的陪我说刚热热为国为上根子本当的瓦马里中战地上但是将所以是本身的我的但就是去家不把我这的人先把当跟的从我的样的人的到我就结婚的到他们这来的我的什么小辈家娃他们这结婚啊刚那说的我把的到人的为啥玩的我就是来的我儿子很严重的单把的上级但真就他们这跟上的结婚了的建中为呢上级单把到的节日去才是跟着家娃中高为他就新年的生这边的家为我被那种的年而且这样多不是嘛就是去我那边的会那种这种算是我去吧做什么的别这里节日去你们的那真的你们可能的那什么这个的就是OK， 谢谢呀。
那说我空干，
老师。